General Jack Keane joins me now. General, Israel invaded Lebanon so that it can re-establish its northern border. How's that ground invasion going?
Yeah, well, it's going and it's going to be tough. And the reality is it's part of a three-pronged effort that Israel's got going in Lebanon. The first one we've been watching for weeks, and that is the decapitation of their leadership. And those bombings that have taken place, particularly around Beirut, they're still attempting to kill as many of the leaders as they can. The second thing is to destroy their rockets and missiles. You know, they have a considerable amount, somewhere in the neighborhood of 120, 130,000. Estimates are that they likely have destroyed about 50% of that capability. So they're going to continue that effort as well. And then the third thing is the most challenging, the one that you mentioned. It's the ground invasion into southern Lebanon to force the Hezbollah forces back across the Litani River, which is about 18 to 20 miles from the Israeli-Lebanon border. Until they're able to do that, Hezbollah would still be able to fire rockets and missiles and mortars and artillery into northern Israel, and the people would not be able to move back. They've committed now a fourth division. They've got up to 5 divisions that they are willing to commit to this area. It's rugged terrain. The going is going to be tough to do this. This is infantry-type fighting that's taking place here. And in 2006, the Israelis had significant challenges with Hezbollah 18 years ago and left after 34 days. They know a lot about Hezbollah now, and they are completely focused on succeeding here. Here's the challenge. At the end of the day, even if they push them across the Litani River and there's no additional rocket and missile or artillery firing taking place because they're out of range, how long do the Israeli forces have to stay there to ensure that they don't come back down across the river? And while they're staying there, are they going to be continued to be ambushed and those forces be mortared and occasionally have artillery fire come on down on it and gradually take casualties? Well, that is the challenge that the Israelis are dealing with. They're fully aware of that challenge that I just mentioned. But this is a very difficult part of their campaign they're undergoing, and they are completely committed to succeeding here.
But, General, Israel is fighting a three-front war. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. How long can they maintain a three-front war?
Well, what they're about, Stuart, and I'm glad you brought it up, is they are about winning this war. They have effectively destroyed much of Hamas. There's still some thousands of fighters not being able to organize into military organizations, and that's why you saw a campaign in Gaza just a few days ago, the remnants of Hamas. They want to dismantle Hezbollah. This is the most powerful proxy group that Iran has. They want to take their capability away from them, their rockets and missiles, and they're not going to try to destroy or kill every Hezbollah fighter. There's tens of thousands of them. But they want to take away their major weapon that they have is long-range missiles that can reach any city and any town. So they're doing that, and then the second part of that is restore their border, as you mentioned. I believe Iran is on its heels, Stuart, because they're losing their 2 major proxy groups, Hamas and Hezbollah. They did not think that was going to happen. And their 2 attacks that they've made against Israel have been inconsequential, as we've all seen. That is humiliating for them, and that's the reality of it. And their military is not very strong. So I think that the attack on Iran by Israel has been delayed. Why? Main effort is Hezbollah. They'll eventually get around to it, but they are completely focused on the Hezbollah campaign.
That's a progress report on the Mideast war from General Jack Keane. It was a good one. Thank you, General. Always a pleasure. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it.